one. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only podcast that blocked Teddy Long before he blocked us. I'm your host, Ryan Knightsey. With me, as always, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how you doing?
I did not block Teddy Long. He blocked me, however, so that's tough. I'm doing fine. We're here on a Sunday morning once again.
Yes.
Starting 15 minutes later than usual because of me.
It's fine.
But it's okay. It's literally because I just didn't want to stand up and walk to my computer, but it's fine.
There was a Stardom and Showcase show this morning, so I understand that.
Well, it was at 11. Started at 11 last night. So.
They get out of here. Well, I guess that's.
Yeah, I did. I just said I didn't want to get up. I didn't come up with any excuses.
I think that's one minute into the podcast, and you and I are arguing. What are you talking about? Get out of here.
But I'm here. I'm present.
Yeah,
I got a lot to talk about today, so I'm just gonna stop talking now.
Well, there we go. I thank you for walking from your desk to your bed to your desk. This is what we should do. There should be I wouldn't be surprised if we do an episode where it's just you and I in bed, not together, but separate beds, separate beds. Make that abundantly clear. Unless Scotty wants to, in which case we can figure it out.
That'll be my review for some random show that I don't want to talk about.
Yeah,
I'll just bring my laptop over. I'll be laying in bed, and I'll be like, "This is what you get today."
When we do our NWA Hard Times 3 review,
and then when I fall asleep halfway through, Ryan's just gonna be like, "All right, that's the show."
I'll be like, "Tyrus, not a bad guy, right?" And you're like, "All right, that's it." No. Fuck Tyrus.
Don't
anyway,
start on that today, please.
No, I won't. Fuck Tyrus. We got a pretty big show today. Pretty significant stuff happening all over the world. AEW obviously had a great week with Grand Slam and Grand Slam Rampage. Impact Victory Road took place. Plus, we got a little bit of previews, kind of, for New Japan Royal Quest, and of course the 5-star Grand Prix final for Stardom. Before we get to all of that, let us talk about the news that started cropping up this week in the world of professional wrestling. So first off, top it all off, WWE announced that this is on Monday, so this is a while ago. WWE announced that Survivor Series will be getting 2.
Holy shit, that was this week.
That was this week. When I was looking up news, I was like, oh yeah, this came out Monday.
Oh my god.
Survivor Series will be having 2 War Games matches. Yes, sorry.
War Game!
Thank you. They have to find a new guy to do that, I guess. It was announced via The Ringer that Triple H said that WWE is changing its approach for Survivor Series. Instead of the traditional Raw versus SmackDown format, the War Games matches will be storyline driven. Quote, "We'll have a men and War Games match in a women's War Game match. The tradition of the Survivor Series have ebbed and flowed and changed slightly over time, but this will be similar to that. This will not be Raw versus SmackDown. It'll be much more storyline driven. I still look at it as a traditional component to Survivor Series in there because it's large teams of people competing. We just upped the ante a little bit with War Games and made it evolve."
Oh, God.
So, yes, War Games is on its way to Survivor Series this November. Seemingly.
The main roster for the first time ever.
What's that?
The main roster of WWE for the first time ever.
That is correct. Making its way over from WCW to NXT to now graduating to the main roster.
It developed enough. It could get. It finally got promoted.
It took a number of years. It's taken a long time for War Games.
It went the Aaliyah route. Okay.
War Games
needed some time. Needed to work.
As War Games officially as good as Aaliyah.
Got worse as they went, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, so it's coming this November. Supposedly, they didn't quite say it, but supposedly this is formally replacing the 5-on-5 elimination tags.
That's okay.
Which, it's fine. I think for me personally, we've kind of run that story into the ground a bit, especially the brand versus brand storyline. For the past couple
The
years,
first like 2 times were fun.
yeah, I think
And then the NXT one rejuvenated it,
I agree.
and then it was just dead in the water.
Yeah, and it's just that sort of thing. Also, it's like it also became not just that it was dead in the water after the NXT thing, but also around that time they did the draft right before, which
Yeah.
made just the logic of confusion of brand loyalty just really
Yep.
weird.
It did.
But so now seemingly we'll be replacing and fixing all that. We still draft has been moved around, so no one knows exactly when it's going to be happening. But at the very least, War Games is happening this November.
The best SmackDown versus Raw Survivor Series stuff was the first one that they did right after like they moved rosters back to separation.
Yeah.
That was the best one. Because I think because that was when like AJ and Ambrose and like they were running SmackDown. You had Kevin and Jericho. Yeah, it was good back then. But Survivor Series, the name finally makes sense. So that's awesome. Finally, there's a reason to survive. I'm excited. I'm excited about War Games. I can see it live.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's
That's
in
the best
Boston this
part.
year, right? It's in
Yeah,
Boston.
I saw the announcement. I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna be there. I think so. My main takeaway is that I think the main roster will be able to do a lot more with the War Games match itself than NXT did.
How so?
Because it feels like the main the main roster just has like
Aaliyah, yeah.
better wrestlers, but like I feel like the storytelling would be more natural than just Undisputed Era every single time. If that makes sense. Like that's what it became after a while.
Yeah.
And then they just tried to make it happen. Like at least right now, this first year, there are natural things going into it. Just if you pay attention to WWE TV, there's a faction on both sides to really lead the way into those matches, right? You get the Bloodline on one side, and then you have the Damage Control on the other. It's just a matter of who they face. But I think that's okay.
They could face each other.
We'll
solve it.
Be a really good match. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Something different. Something different for the main roster. Like Roman Reigns will be in War Games probably, so that's different.
Yeah, I think it should be good. I don't suspect
unless he sends the Usos in there.
It's probably going to be like
I'm guessing Sammy's been turned on by then.
I don't know. I was expecting Sammy in there. We do the classic 5-on-5 with Usos, nice. Roman, Solo, and Sammy,
and then random team.
That's the problem is that they have to build up a solid babyface team on both sides of both the Damage Control thing and the Bloodline thing. So, I mean,
the good thing is if they want to. Now, there's no guarantee that they want to. But you can get a long-term build of a feud for Roman out of it.
Depending on who's on that one side.
If you want to do that step and then work it all the way to the Rumble, that would work.
Yeah.
But
or even, of course. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea because they would need it for probably what?
I think Survivor Series is the last pay-per-view of the year. And then until day one.
Yeah, then day one. Well, do they have another crown jewel? Or is this... No, this is the second one.
They have one crown jewel.
They already did one this earlier. Yeah, so they have that Logan Paul match. They have the Survivor Series, which presumably he'll be in. Then they have day one, and then Royal Rumble after that. So presumably just need 2 more challengers for Roman.
Yeah.
So that could work out. That's actually not a bad idea. Speaking about they also have to find a lot of people to, on that babyface side. Maybe an idea they pitched one time is to pick up the people. So we got some more news from Fightful about some of the names that WWE contacted in AEW to try to, quote unquote, allegedly poach.
Top rope, catch a vibe.
So, of course, we already sort of know about Malachi Black, and now his contract is kind of over, but seemingly he has a conditional release situation. But we also, according to Fightful Select, also the likes of FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler, along with Swerve Strickland, were also contacted. They also said that besides those, I guess, 4 people, WB also reportedly reached out to another unnamed top AEW talent in August. The name had supposedly, quote, been with the company since the start of AEW. And AEW sources were surprised to learn that WB reached out to them. So it was an AEW original. An AEW original got a call. So, Scotty, thoughts on those names coming in?
So it's MJF. Anyways, the rest of the crew, yeah, it's not shocking.
That's the one thing. I also presume it's MGF, but hearing Fightful saying that AEW sources were surprised that they got the call, it's like, would they be really surprised that MJF got a call? I don't know. That's just me saying.
It must have been Dustin Rhodes.
Now we're talking.
I don't read. None of this. This is such like a no news story for me, and it got talked about way too much this week. Because I don't care who got contacted. They can contact whoever they want. I know people are like, oh, that's contract tampering, but like this is wrestling. Wrestling doesn't work the same way as like the National Football League. So let's stop acting like it does. Swerve's is my favorite one.
Yeah, Swerve is great.
Swerve's like, hey, no. Shout out Bobby Fish for trying to get his friends to quit so he could get a job. Instead, Impact paid him. So
yeah, Swerve. I like Swerve saying, and then like after that news kind of went around, Swerve went on record and being like, "Oh, I've been loving AEW way more my entire run of NXT." It's like, all right, we know where Swerve's feelings are at the moment, so I don't blame him one bit. Speaking of other people that left WWE, it was formally announced from Stardom that Kairi is officially joining the IWGP Women's Title Tournament, but not in that Japanese side. She's part of the international side of the bracket. She is the one with the bye. So Kairi is joining the tournament. She will be facing the winner of Ava White and Alpha Female at another Stardom show in October, I think. And then whoever wins that, then they move on to Historic Crossover, and we'll get a new ever IWGP Women's Title Tournament. So, thoughts on Kairi in this tournament?
It was the best move possible. She will go to the finals. If that shocks anyone. Now, don't get me wrong. Stardom did something today that definitely doesn't have anyone jazzed in terms of Alpha Female and the new group that she has formed. But
that sounded like a classic Ryan transition where you said nobody jazzed D Gabbert, Alpha Female.
No one's jazzed about it, but I don't really want to talk about it. So anyways, I'm here to talk about the 5-star Grand Prix and Kairi. But Kairi versus Mayu should be your main event. That should be, or your final. I don't know if it'll be the main event of Historic Crossover, but that's the biggest match you could put on for the most eyeballs. That's the most. Those are the 2 most known people, and it should be excellent. So I'm happy with it. I think in terms of size of like who wins and whatnot, you can't really lose. Can't really lose with Mayu or Kairi. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes.
Yeah, I think Kairi is obviously huge. I think we sort of talked about it when they announced the tournament itself, the bye person, that the problem with the bye is that it has to be someone important enough to deserve a bye, but then it's like, well, then they are probably just going to win the whole side there if they're that important, which Kairi seems like the right person. I do think, sort of spoke about what happened with Stardom this morning. I do think that part of the reason they did that is so that there is the element of, Kairi might not be able to win, the classic booking thing. So I assume that's probably what the track record we're going to go down. But then, of course, we'll have Kairi versus whoever's on the other side. You and I sort of suppose that, it hasn't been formally announced, but we're probably assuming that Mayu will be one of the people in that bracket, and Mayu could probably win it. And then Mayu versus Kairi would be fantastic. And then Three Musketeers style, and then we have the historic crossover. I mean, now that Kyrie's also in it, you and I have also talked about it before, maybe having Mayu win, but
I've had both of them.
Yeah.
I named both of them because if they want the biggest name, it's those two.
Yeah, and Kyrie would also be a very interesting win as well, just so the idea of, this person is going to be on New Japan shows, this person's going to be in America defending it as well, on Strong and stuff like that. Kyrie makes sense.
The only thing is, I don't think Kyrie has any part of her that wants to come back to America.
Really?
Well, she left.
Well, good point.
Purposely.
Well, she also left during the pandemic, so I don't blame her on that part.
Yeah, but she left because she's married.
Yeah,
she left because she wanted to be home. I mean, if it's just for a trip or two, then that's one thing. But I mean, we can't sit here and act like she wants to go back.
Good point. That's a good point.
She might be okay with like trips though, because she does have friends there, of course.
Yeah,
time.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But Ryan,
yes,
we're on the victory road.
Yes, we are. We are in fact on the victory road.
Even though I don't know how much we actually won on the victory road, but alas, I'm past the victory road. I'm bound for glory. But we still have to talk about the victory road.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm gonna lead this shit.
Okay.
Because I'm the captain now. I also didn't watch it, so it's probably better if I do that.
Yeah.
I'll fully admit that. But Impact Wrestling Victory Road happened this past Friday night on Impact Plus, as well as whatever their YouTube service is. I have a few questions for you. I don't necessarily care about half these matches. That's why I didn't watch it. But what I do care about is, most importantly, did Impact continue their streak of good special events? Without lying.
I've never lied about my feelings about Impact. I don't know.
The answer's no. All right, cool.
It's not a no, but it's definitely like the show was like a solid 3-star show. Like it was solidly good, but there was stuff that dragged. Great. There was not. I mean, the best match was probably like 3.5 stars. So it's like, if it was a television show, I would be like, this was a good show. But the fact that this was like sort of a pay-per-view-y, event special thing, it was like, this should have been a little bit better. So
there was only one title match for those who don't know. So it's not like it was, Bound for Glory, which is in 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah. I would say it probably did not continue the streak, but it wasn't a horrendous show. It wasn't like like last year. Maybe not last year. Last year was like a Christian versus Alex Zane, Ace Austin show, and that was last year. So I'm not gonna say last year, but it's not like previous Impact shows where it's like, oh, this was the drizzling shits.
By the looks of it. Now, this is just me looking at it. It does feel like Impact has lost something since earlier this year. Like everything looks the same, and we'll go into that more as we talk about this. Of course, we got to start at the top of the card, Ryan.
Yeah, baby.
Some speedball. Mike Bailey successfully defended the Impact X Division title against Delirious. Instead of you telling me how this match went and how he won, because there was no question that Mike Bailey was going to win, I want you to tell me, in terms of this show, was that if you were to cut it into halves, right? All the matches, would this be in the top half or the bottom half of the show?
Oh, top half easily.
Okay, so Speedball kept it up.
Yeah, this was, not just top half. This was, to me, the best match on the show.
Okay.
So,
all right. So that's funny.
It was a really good match. Speedball kept it up. I do think that Delirious held with him. I do think it was sort of the, how do I put this? You know, like when Osprey has a really great match with like an indie wrestler, but it's like
Yeah.
the indie wrestler is pretty good, but they're still not like one of the best ever or something. But
Ray
it's like,
Christian. Yep.
uh, but it's like they're able to keep up and have a really good match. But
Blake Christian.
it's kind of mostly because Osprey they had a really good match.
Yeah. So it was because of Speedball.
Yes, yeah. Delirious. I mean, Delirious did hold their own. It was still entertaining, but it was mostly Speedball that made the match entertaining. He had big Osprey syndrome here.
All right.
And yeah,
I don't want you to go delirious, so we can move on.
no, yeah.
Uh,
It was. I saw the stat somewhere that it was the first ever. I think at least X Division, probably the first ever like Impact match where both competitors were barefoot during the match, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I guess.
you I the interesting part about this, I think, is like Speedball's really slowed down
Hmm.
his Wrestler of the Year push, in if that makes sense, which is kind of crazy because I thought the moment he won that title, it would just accelerate even more. So I did want to hear about a match with Delirious of all people, but it's good to see he rose it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Tough that it's the match of the night though, because it was the first match of the night.
yeah.
But as we move on,
Well,
the
we've
Motor City Machine.
you
Oh,
and I have
sorry.
also
Do you
seen
need to?
you and I have also seen that
Oh,
with like previous Impact shows though as well, where like the first match is always the
yeah.
best match.
I think the reason I'm so down about this is because I was really enjoying all the Impact shows,
Hmm.
and this is the first time, and I'll admit that I enjoyed something from each show, at least one thing, but usually two or three.
Yeah,
But I'm looking at this, and it's like I have no part of me that needs to see any of this, which is a shame. But but we we cover it for all the lovely people at home.
yeah.
The Motor City Machine Guns beat Honor No More. I don't really need analysis here. Um, was this not a number one contenders match? Because I know they have the Bound for Glory match.
No, this I believe they got the number one contendership on television against Aussie Open the Thursday previous. So it was just sort of a victory road to, if you will, to Bound for Glory. So against
Victory
against the
Road,
other two guys in Honor No More. So that was sort of the idea there.
Country
Still pretty good.
Home.
Still pretty good match.
Yeah, I can't see it being bad.
No, it's not one of those matches that's going to be
It's
bad.
it's kind of like the same scenario of what you just told me with Motor City Machine Guns
Yes.
instead of Mike Bailey. That's kind of like half the show is like, well, you kind of expect them to
Yeah.
live up to it enough. All right. Mickey James
Hmm.
keeps her career. That's a shame. Against Giselle Shaw.
Yes.
She defeated Giselle Shaw, so that means we still have to see Mickey James wrestle. This is see, I like leading this because I get to ask the questions. How did Mickey James look as a wrestler in this match?
Fine.
The same that she always looks.
Yeah. Fine. You know, nothing to write home about, but nothing awful.
Went 12 minutes.
Yeah. Giselle Shaw, I think, did a good job of keeping up. Giselle Shaw did like
Keeping up.
whatever. That's fair. Giselle Shaw looked good in there. She did a very interesting botch in the match that I want to highlight. That it was definitely a botch, but like the idea of it being a future move is insane. It was
Oh.
she meant to do a running. Mickey James is on the outside. Giselle Shaw is going to do a dive to the outside, but doing the over the top rope spinning, sideways spinning, whatever that's called, crossbody thing. Not tornado. I think that's the vertical. But the way she does it, she doesn't do it quite well, and ends up basically kicking Mickey James in the back of the head when she does the
Nice.
move. And it's like, oh, that was a real botch. But at the same time, she just did a running like corkscrew enziguri to Mickey James. Was like, whoa, that was pretty cool though. I mean, it's kind of cool, pretty cool spot though. So it is what it is. But I was like, hey, those cool spots. We just invented something. I don't know.
Now I ask, would you recommend this match?
If you want to watch, if you're a fan of Giselle Shaw and Mickey James, sure. It was good. It was good, but it wasn't like I wouldn't necessarily recommend.
Okay,
If
okay.
you
In
were,
terms of star
I will
rating,
say
was
this.
good.
I would say this: if you are a Giselle Shaw fan, this was probably her best match in Impact.
Oh,
So that's something.
that's not great.
So that's something.
Okay. The Impact X Division title, #1 contendership, triple threat revolver match.
Yeah.
I hope if do people in the back need me to repeat that again? The Impact X Division title, #1 contendership, triple threat revolver match. The participants were Yuya Uemura, of
Mm-hmm.
course,
Mm-hmm.
Trey Miguel, Mia Yim, Laredo Kid, Kenny King King,
Thank you.
Black Taurus, Alex Zane, and the winner, Frankie Kazarian of AEW. Also has me blocked on Twitter because I said his match was boring. So not bringing my bias into this, who was the shining star of this match? Yeah, I'm bringing you the tough questions because I honestly, if there was a match that was at least entertaining on this show, it's probably this, but it went really long, 24 minutes and 8 seconds. So
To me, the shining star wrestling wise was Black Taurus. Um,
yeah,
they were, but the match kayfabe
should
wise,
have won.
the person that was in there the longest was Mia Yim, so they were definitely trying to showcase her the most. But I love Black Taurus, so he was really good. Everyone else got like good enough spots in it, but Black Taurus I just really enjoyed the most.
You know why Impact will never be great
Why is
again
that?
or ever
Why,
or whatever
why is that?
is because instead of doing Black Taurus versus
Mike Ball.
Mike Mike Bailey, Mike Bailey, they went with the history thing instead. That's their problem. They can't avoid going historic ever. Instead of just going with the best match possible, they always have to kick themselves in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, are you excited for Speedball Mike Bailey versus Frankie Kazarian?
Like you said, it's historic. It will be if he beats Kazarian. Well, assuming he has one more defense on a taping, he will potentially beat Kazarian to beat Christopher Daniels' record of most defenses with the X Division title. So do I think it'll be good? It's Mike Bailey. Right? I mean, I
It
just
is
told you.
Mike Bailey.
I just gave you my thoughts on Delirious, and I personally will say that Frankie Kazarian is better than Delirious. So it has to be better. It has to be a good match at minimum. It's just a matter of how
That's
good
fair.
will the match be.
That's fair. All right, next match, according to Cage Match, is the second best match on the show. I have a hard time believing it. Honor No More, Eddie Edwards, Matt Taven. I'm Matt Taven.
Thank you.
And Mike Bennett defeated the team of Josh Alexander, Rich Swann, and Heath. And reportedly, now I can't confirm nor deny via my sources, Josh Alexander was pinned in this match.
I do not remember at all.
That's the best analysis I could have asked for this match. I had one question, about the result, and he's like, I don't know. It was, I got Impact out. Instead of watching Rampage Grand Slam, I had to watch this. And to me, I can't even remember who got pinned. By the way, I do know that Josh Alexander got pinned. I just wanted to see if you did.
I could not.
He got pinned.
To be fair, I think I've watched like 30 or 40 wrestling matches since I watched this match, and so I'm genuinely being like, I do not remember at all.
I watched. 1 second, Big Yawn. All
Which
right. I saw the Impact spoilers
Mhm.
for their tapings. By the way, a match on the show happens again. You can figure out which one. It doesn't excite you either way.
So I was gonna say mostly Machine Gun versus PCO and Vincent. That would have been my guess. I was like,
no,
that's
it's Mickey James versus Giselle Shaw. Anyways, I did see that Josh Alexander got pinned in the build to him versus Eddie Edwards. Again,
Mhm.
Impact's going on the history rather than the best match. Yeah, if you don't have any more words to say, we could always move on
Well,
to
I
the
can't.
more
I
exciting
can't
stuff.
believe. Can you? I can't believe that I'm asking you this question. But can you tell me who pinned Josh Alexander?
I think it's Eddie Edwards.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. It's
It makes
fine.
sense.
It's a
You're
6-man
building up to it.
tag.
Yeah,
You're building up
yeah.
to the world title match. We just showcased that Eddie Edwards can pin Josh Alexander. So storyline wise, that's fine. That makes sense. It's not. It's logical booking, right? It's logical booking at the end of the day. So, you said at the beginning. I will also say that you said that this match was like the second best. This was the second best match on the show.
Oh, how about
It
that? The
for
ratings don't lie.
for me, not my ratings don't
No,
match
Cage
Cage
Match
match.
disagrees with you.
But I will say that this was probably the second best match on the show. It was pretty good, you know. I thought that everyone did a pretty good job in here, so I'm excited to see what happens.
In a pick your poison match or whatever the hell they called it, Jordan Grace defeated Max the Impaler, the chosen opponent of or via Masha Slamovich. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't have any questions for this.
it was a good match. It was a
I
lot.
just saw Max catch Jordan Grace and I was like, that's sick.
Yes. I don't remember if that was the spot, but I believe she caught Jordan Grace, and then she threw Jordan Grace onto the edge of the ring, and it was the loudest thunk I've ever heard. That I legitimately thought like Jordan Grace broke something. Like it was a like a like a large thunk that looked. It was like the crowd went silent. Like, oh crap, someone just died. It was terrifying. But you know that's Max the Impaler, right? Yeah, it was just a good match that had a lot of like around the ring brawling. It ended up being fine. I don't know. Was a post match thing here, and obviously there's a new incomer into the roster that I believe happened either before this match or after this match. Do you want me to talk about those as well?
Yeah, because I don't even know what that is. I can't get that off of a cage match, unfortunately.
So I know you are super excited about this. So it was a pick your poison, which classically is, you know, we have the champion and challenger. The challenger picks their poison to face the champion. The champion picks their poison to face the challenger. Masha Slamovich picked.
Oh, I fucking know who it is.
Masha Slamovich picked Max the Impaler. Jordan Grace gets on the mic afterwards and says that, you know, it's time to pick someone for Masha Slamovich. She said that she picked someone, but the person only wanted to do it under their rules. Their rules was it had to be a monster rules match, and the person was Alley Catch. So it'd be Alley for taped for television, Alley Catch versus Masha Slamovich in a monsters rules match.
Impact Wrestling's dead.
The crowd did slightly pop for Alley Catch's name. It was a delayed
there's-
pop, but
there couldn't be any. The only good part about any of this is that Masha Slamovich is winning that belt. And otherwise, this would be all a crime. Alley Catch, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I know you're not. But
I heard that and I died. I was like, "Oh, you're kidding me!" No,
Do you know GCW built its women's wrestling? I'm not even gonna say division because it's not a fucking division. It's one person.
It's one
around
person.
her. That's all they care about.
Yeah.
You remember? Yeah, no.
We can go on our GCW tirades.
Do you remember that awful show that was their biggest show of all time?
Yeah. Was it Alley Catch versus Soho, I believe?
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, it did.
That was the, and I'm gonna say it, the token women's match on the show because that's what they did. Alley Catch, are you kidding me? That's who your threat is to Masha Slamovich? Are you joking? God.
Hey, at least they're booking women's matches.
It's supposed to be kayfabe. You pick someone that's actually gonna beat her up, not someone that sucks. God damn.
Well, that's why they did a Monsters Rules match, probably. Well, before the main event, and I don't remember if this happened after. Well, I don't remember if this happened after the women's match or before. Bobby Fish came out in Impact Victory Road. Didn't say he signed a contract or anything. I've heard rumors that it's a handshake deal sort of gimmick. But he came out, talked about, how he's here. He's a lightning rod of controversy currently. How he could say kind of whatever he wants because he doesn't have a contract. They can't fire him. How he only wants to fight legit guys.
He wasn't even on the tapings.
He wasn't even on the tapings. That's hilarious. Basically, he only just wants to fight legit guys, kind of a semi-shoot style at Punk, I guess. And said that the Impact locker room had a lot of legit guys, and then out came Shira and Raj Singh.
No fucking way.
Bobby Fish was like, I don't know who you guys are, and they're like, well, we're this guy. Bobby Fish beats him up and says, I still don't know who you are, but whatever, I'll fight you, I guess.
All right.
So supposedly that's the Bound for Glory match, I'm guessing.
I might have to say it, guys. I might have to say it. MLW might have just passed within one show. MLW didn't even have to. MLW didn't even have to do anything.
They haven't even officially come back yet.
They haven't officially come back yet. But what they have done, spoiler alert, is they crowned Shun Skywalker as a champion.
Yeah.
While Impact added Bobby Fish to their roster. I don't even care if it's for one match. It's bad enough. Bobby Fish doesn't offer you anything. He doesn't offer you coaching. He doesn't offer you talent. He doesn't offer you good wrestling. Nope. He doesn't offer you anything besides boring ass takes that no one cares about. The guy that he keeps sucking off doesn't even care about. He didn't give him a job. So I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm done with Bobby Fish. Guess what? Kyle O'Reilly's best tag team partner wasn't even Bobby Fish. It was Roderick Strong. So get out of here. Let's move on. I can't talk about the Fisherman anymore.
I do have 2 points though. My well was just in regards to the coaching aspect. He has been taking independent coaching seminars, so you can take that as it was.
He stole pizza yesterday. I don't want to hear
it. So he did an indie coaching seminar of Black Label Pro, and they talked about it during the show about how Levi Everett was there, and I cannot imagine Levi Everett, the Amish wrestler, being trained by Bobby Fish. There's just something about that very funny to me. I also wrote down multiple jokes because I had a tweet about it, and I just...
Are they all old person jokes?
No, I wrote... I didn't write anything. I just wrote...
His best friend, the Queen, died.
I wrote, so Triple H didn't pick up the phone. What is Robert Salmon doing in the Impact Zone?
Nice.
Was that supposed to be the 923 debut?
That's a good one.
Is AEW a legit company now that Impact picked up their first disgruntled ex AEW employee? So yeah, there's it's seemingly it's a handshake deal. So who the heck knows? That's just a rumor. I don't necessarily know anything for specifics.
I'd wash my hands personally. But alas, we move on.
It's Impact. This is what they do. This is the kind of people they pick up. That's
God.
It is what it is.
Impact had such good vibes with me, and they're pissing it all away.
I will say though, this, like you just said, it was the alley catch, it was the Bobby Fish, and it was the main event that we're about to get to. That really, I was just like, oh, I'm starting to get out. I'm starting to get out of Impact.
Why didn't I watch Rampage Grand Slam?
Well, that is because I wanted to go to bed, but
that's true. Anyways, the Barbed Wire Massacre. Steve Schmacklin defeated the team of Moose. Not team. They weren't a team. And so maybe it would have been better. All I know. These are the things that I know from the main event. I want you to confirm, and then I want you to continue.
Sure.
Because this is how I do analysis for these things. So what I know is that Sami Callihan dressed like McFoley.
Yes.
I know that Sami Callihan brought down the match a lot.
Yes, I would agree.
And I know that Steve Macklin won. Those are the three things I knew.
Yes, and I'll add to that.
Was I correct in all ways?
You were correct in all ways.
Woo!
And I'll add to that not only did Steve
I'll tell you about hard time.
not only was Steve Macklin the winner, but he was also the best part of this match. He did a phenomenal job in this match, I will say. To
Steve
address
Macklin's good.
He is good. I've really been enjoying him. If there was anyone that can maybe this is the idea. If there's anyone that can in Impact, they can probably have be the next X Division title holder after Mike Bailey. Not saying Mike Bailey loses. Maybe he just does the, X Division, relinquishes the title to go after the world title. Macklin, I think, is a good person to go for that X Division. I think that is legitimately a good idea. So to address point number 2 about Sami Callihan dragging this match down, 100%. This match was 25 minutes long. It was plotting. It was boring. It was everything you don't want in a barbed wire massacre. I was insulted by how boring this match was. Macklin was great in there. Anytime he was in the match, it was good. Moose held his own. Sami Callihan was the worst part of this match. He is so slow now, post-injury and all that stuff. He's so slow. He's obviously gained a bunch of weight, which is fine.
Yeah, talk
but
that shit, Ryan.
He's gained a bunch of weight, which is fine, but he's definitely slowed down significantly. And he's just not. And now Sami Callihan, a guy that at one point in time thought was going to be the breakout star of the Switchblade conspiracy, is now doing tribute acts with Raven and Mick Foley, Cactus Jack. I think it's really Cactus Jack, but Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, Raven. We're now doing tribute acts in Impact and only basically doing these deathmatch stuff, which are super boring. What are we doing, Sami Callihan? I do not understand it. I am okay if he stops wrestling altogether. He does a good job as a booker for Revolver. Just I don't want to see the guy anymore on my screen, let alone in this company.
You just embraced your Scott E on that one.
I did.
Holy shit! He not only went to the point of this guy isn't good anymore. He said, and I quote, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." He said, "Retire."
Yeah.
He said, "Get the fuck out of here."
It was. Look, and I get if people still like Sami Callihan, that is fine. But it's just he is barely a shell of who he was years ago. Before with the Switchblade conspiracy, even compared to
his last great match was against Kenny Omega. Kenny by God Omega.
Probably. And it was against Omega, so there might be a reason why. Was that not
his last match?
I think he had a match after that was against Trey Miguel, and that was pretty good. I remember that being pretty good. But yeah, no, it is. He got injured, and since he's been back, it has been a lot of at best good, at worst horrendous.
My favorite part of the rant, my personal favorite part of the rant, is he was supposed to be the breakout of the Switchblade conspiracy. Are you joking? We picked him over Jon Moxley.
People legitimately picked him back in the day over Jon Moxley. And to be fair, who would have guessed that Jon Moxley would be where he is today? I guess
Jon Moxley probably.
True. But have
you heard that man talk about himself, wrestler?
True. That's true. It's so seeing Jon Moxley where he is, talker that he is, the kind of wrestler he is, being the champion of a top company versus Sami Callihan in a minor promotion in the United States, just doing deathmatch stuff, boring as hell. This is supposed to be his kind of match style, and he was the worst person in it. It is such a divide between the two.
That's tough.
And I'm just like, get this guy off my screen. Just be a booker. You
pretty much told him to retire.
Just be a booker. He's good as a booker in Revolver. I don't know if you've been checking out Revolver, that indie, but he's been doing a pretty good job over there. I've been liking what they've been doing over there. but it's just here. It's just like, look, man, I don't know if
Revolver
this.
books Impact talent better than Impact books Impact talent. So there you
Yeah,
go.
in some ways, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
All
oof.
right. Well, that was our victory road. We are now bound for glory moving forward when it comes to Impact Wrestling. I have a funny little thing for you here because I was just scrolling on Cage Match and I saw Eddie Edwards, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett versus Heath, Josh Alexander, Rich Swann are one of the last 3 comments in the rating center on Cage Match. It got an 8 from the legit boss. Sasha Banks loved the match. But you want to hear the other 3?
Sure.
The other 2? So one of them was Utami Hayashishita versus Saki.
Mm-hmm.
That was rated. And then the other one is a 4 rating for Tony Storm. So
it's just a wrestler?
The highest rated thing.
It's just a wrestler?
Impact. The highest rated thing was Impact.
So
out of all that,
Impact got a 4-star match from Sasha Banks.
From Sasha Banks from Licha Boss.
What was the rating on the Utami Saki match?
6. They got a 6.
So that's a 3
from then Wogue Badly.
So that's a 3-star match, and then someone rated Tony Star 1 star. Tony Storm.
No, 2. She got 2. She got 4.
Oh, okay. I understand.
Put a little respect on the AEW Interim World Women's Champion name.
2 is so low. That's so wrong.
Oh, man.
So
well, there you go. That is officially the Impact Victory Road review. And as I said, we're bound for glory now, baby. We're bound for glory.
We are bound for glory. Next week will probably be our bound for glory preview. And I will say that too, is that this show very much felt like, I jokingly said Victory Road 2. It basically was. It was a Victory Road to Bound for Glory. This was a lot of they announced a lot of matches. They put together the Mia Yim versus Mickie James match on the show as well. Obviously, the X Division title and all this other stuff. They put together a lot of matches on this show to get Bound for Glory together. So that's really what this show was meant to be and what it kind of was, just with a crappy main event.
If anyone's wondering, I don't know, maybe you are. Bound for Glory doesn't look great, but it does look a lot better than Victory Road. So we'll hold out hope. We will review that in full. I will be watching. I will be Bound for Glory, baby.
Yeah, baby. Let's get to it. Speaking about great shows, Grand Slam.
It's on a Friday?
Yeah, it is. Bound for Glory on a Friday. AEW had their Grand Slam week, their Arthur Ashe Stadium, one of the only 10 shows to have $1 million gate. So congrats to them on that. They had a bajillion matches on the show, and for both for Dynamite and Rampage. Let's go through and talk about it.
Takes. I passed up on going Grand Slam first because one, I wanted to start it off with Impact, start off the show hot with the biggest topic going on in wrestling.
We knew the people wanted to talk about. People wanted to hear my thoughts.
I also very much wanted to save my heated discussion for later because I get very tired after I do this.
Yeah, this is the meat of the show, probably.
Meat and potatoes, baby.
So let's get to it. Let's start off with Grand Slam
protein.
Dynamite. With the Ring of Honor.
Whatever a potato is.
Ring of Honor World Title match opening the entire week here. Chris Jericho defeats Claudio Castagnoli. I think I made the joke last week of it would be insane if Chris Jericho won the title. And guess what? He won the title.
Who's ready for my hot take?
He's brought dishonor to Ring of Honor. Scotty.
This was the best decision for Ring of Honor. One, Chris Jericho is having another career resurgence. I was going to say a career resurgence, another one.
He's had a billion at this point.
2, the match was really good.
I think one of, if not,
it was my favorite match on the night. Actually,
it was my favorite. It was my favorite night of the match. It might have been my night of my match. It was my. For AEW.
It was my second favorite, but we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's some selfish reasons play into that. But so favorite match from Dynamite, Grand Slam. Okay. 3, who's better to be your world champion to get a TV deal than Chris Jericho.
Mhm.
I've already seen him do it once. How do you think AEW got their TV deal, people? We have to thank the demo god, the wizard, the man who makes the list,
Le Champion,
Y2J, Le Champion,
Le Champion
something,
de
something,
Honorable,
the pain maker, the guy that had the knockoff evil shirt that people forget about, and I really need to go find that so I can tell you what it said on it. Chris Jericho, baby. And then he has this like, and I think he had his best night of commentary too on Rampage. He was hilarious the entire show.
He was really good.
It was like Ricky Starks hit a low blow. And he's like, oh my God, who would hit a low blow? And it's like, it's those little things. But I actually think this was a great match. I think Chris Jericho winning was the right decision. Sorry for the Claudio fans, but oh well.
Chris Jericho also made a bit where Sting hit someone with a bat during their match on Rampage, and Chris Jericho's like, who would hit someone with a bat? What kind of honor is in that kind of move?
Him doing the honor gimmick is going to be so much fun.
It's already great. It's already
also
fantastic. I'm full in.
Someone pointed out to me that this could be all to build to the Chris Jericho versus Daniel Garcia title for title match. And I was like, that's how you book.
Which, if I'm
Tony Khan might be booking Ring of Honor better than AEW right now.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the only other person, if Daniel Garcia wins that match, I believe the only other person that's been able to do that official. Well, there have been multiple, but they kind of had him at the same time. The first person that did that was Bryan Danielson.
He's the one that combined those titles.
Yeah.
When they got rid of the Pure. And it feels like Daniel Garcia would be the right choice to do that. I'm all in, man. I'm all in on this story. I'm all in on the sports entertainers running Ring of Honor. I'm all about it.
With dishonor?
With dishonor. This is what Ring of Honor could be. I saw a lot of people that actually like Ring of Honor that are excited for this. Now let's just hope they get a TV deal. That's what they need.
I mean, you talked about it.
Or a deal. I don't care what it's on.
I do wonder if this could be the early tip-off of them acquiring a TV deal or close to them. Yeah. I've sort of surmised, based on WBD's Warner Brothers Discovery's issues and how they handle their business currently, that if we were to get a TV deal for Ring of Honor, it is not going to be until the new year. WBD doesn't want to spend any more money. Trust me, I personally know that issue with my job. That's a story for another day. But they do not necessarily want to be spending any more money than they need to. They decided to push all their movies till next year because they don't want to spend more money on that stuff.
Unless it's Black Adam.
Unless it's Black Adam or Don't Worry, Darling.
How'd that work out? Sorry. It's not wrestling.
I mean, it got a lot of press, I guess. So they don't. If we're going to get a Ring of Honor television deal, it is not going to be till next year.
That's okay.
So
with them,
that is true.
Talking to the Zone.
That is true.
Potential things, which it sounds like it would be more for outside of the U.S. than anything. But
sure. Yeah, I imagine
it's interesting.
I imagine ideally, if I was Tony Khan, you just want to keep it all in the same room. You don't have to.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, WB has the thing with like USA and Fox, which is nice. You get a lot of money in that deal, but then you have to deal with two masters, and that is also a difficulty.
Sure. Well, no, WWE said you don't get a world champion. Fuck you.
That's also true. Yeah, no. So I think it's a great idea. I think Claudio had a really good reign, really solid reign.
He had a good TV reign.
Yeah, and
he has good TV reign as he could.
Yeah, and also it doesn't mean, and he has been booked very well and booked really well. But also, let's say is Chris Jericho is still a bigger star, and if you're trying to also sell Ring of Honor television, well, you already sold a television with Jericho as champion before, so why not do it with him again? I don't blame it. I think it's a good idea.
I also have a thought here. I think I think Tony Khan needed Claudio to be free of a world title so that he can plug him into more things now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's like part of the problem for Claudio so far. Is like he was a world champion, so you couldn't just toss him into things.
Mm-hmm.
Now he could be tossed into things and just have great matches, right? He can kind of be what John Moxley was before they needed John Moxley to be AEW world champion, right?
Yeah.
Like they just kind of plugged him in for great matches. So I think that will be interesting. I like the move, like I said. Chris Jericho, like I said, is doing some fantastic work all over again. So should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And look, and it also doesn't mean that that's also the other thing. Is it doesn't mean that Claudio can never be champion again, right? I mean, if let's say Claudio can be what Moxley was, which Moxley kind of is like the ace, maybe Claudio could be the ace of Ring of Honor, and that can mean that he can have the title
Yeah.
again. I don't know. Who the heck knows? Is he cut out for
We'll
that? I
see.
don't know. But yeah, we'll see. Otherwise,
Well,
I thought
him
this
and
match was
Yuta are
fantastic.
probably fighting FTR too. So
Yeah, there's that idea. There's, you could always also do Yuta and Garcia versus Claudio and Chris Jericho as a tag match down the line.
sure.
That has interesting dynamics as well with Garcia
Yeah.
in there. Besides that, all that, this match was great. I thought this match was great. I went 4 stars on it.
The only thing I didn't like on it was the Carrie Silken stuff.
Yeah, that was weird. That was definitely weird and didn't really quite work.
I think it's because Jericho missed his punch too,
Yeah.
so it all just looked bad.
But it helped. It didn't quite work, but it helped establish the idea that Jericho is dishonorable.
Yeah.
To play into the finish and play into his whole kind of gimmick change, kind of still gimmick. So
Yeah, and they also made the point he wasn't the Lionheart again.
Yes.
He was the Wizard.
Yeah.
So that's his sports entertainer thing. So that's funny.
Yeah, it was very good. A very good match. Next up was the AEW World Tag Team title match. The Acclaimed officially won the titles. They beat Swerve and Glory. They didn't do an audible change. They did it, saved it. They built it up even more. You heard that pop, and if it would have blown off the roof if there was one in Arthur Ashe. But this match was really good. Was as good as the All Out? No, it wasn't.
Didn't expect it to be, honestly. It was going to be hard to it's hard to relight the fire in a lot of ways.
But you can make an argument that also that this pop might have been bigger than the All Out one. I mean, that one was pretty big.
I don't know. The All Out one was like that was like a raging building as that match went on.
That's true.
My biggest takeaway from this match is that Swerve will be one of the best heels in wrestling very quickly.
Yeah, so they also tease Swerve and Keith Lee officially breaking up as well. Swerve is fantastic. I think Swerve, I mean, he jokingly tweeted out saying, there was someone that commented saying that MJF is like, not necessarily going to be like the biggest heel now in the company. And then Swerve tweeted out, it was okay, I'll be. And I was like, yes, he can be. He can easily do it. He has the charisma. He has the talking skills. He can easily be a heel. It would work very well. And Keith Lee,
Swerve's an instant challenger for any title with a babyface, I think.
I wonder if
they'll build him up, but he could be.
I wonder if what they're going to do with them. There was, obviously they can keep him in AEW. They could bring one of them to Ring of Honor, maybe. But that's the other thing is that Swerve is looking like the Shawn Michaels, weirdly enough, in this tag team breakup, potentially. What are we doing with Keith Lee? No one's got any idea about what we do with Keith Lee.
Wait and see. I think he's more wait and see. I like the story that they're going with of like he's kind of not on the same board of like being the heel in a lot of ways. And I don't know. Well, it's good to not have all the answers.
I'm kind of think would be a good idea, and this is fantasy booking, but so who the heck cares? But they don't necessarily be a
Hit Row.
Bring in Hit Row. You're right. You are correct. Sorry, not Hit Row. Hit Makers. I do think that
Shit Maker.
I don't think this would be a formal tag team, but I would love to see a tag team match of Swerve Strickland and Powerhouse Hobbs versus Keith Lee and Ricky Starks.
That'd
Just
be good.
that bringing back that rivalry, but now we're switching teams, and can they coexist on both sides? There's something about that scratches the brain. But this match was good. I think this match was really good. I thought that again, Bowens and Caster did a phenomenal job. Do you care much about the Billy Gunn intervention with the famouser?
No.
Yeah, me neither. People are, because I bring that up because people are complaining about the multiple dirty finishes, and including Billy Gunn in that one.
Well, get over it.
There we go. Here we hear from Scotty Edwards first. AEW All Atlantic title match: Pac versus Orange Cassidy. Pac defeats Orange Cassidy.
This was not nearly as good as their previous match. I did like the finish, though. I actually liked the finish of him hitting him in the head with the hammer and be like, "What? I didn't do anything."
I love that.
Pac is such an interesting wrestler because he could probably have the best match on every show if he wanted to, but he wrestles such a style where it's like it can be hit or miss, and I don't think he necessarily missed here. It wasn't nearly as good as it could have been. Like if him and Ospreay do what they did during their match all the time, like if he just went that style, he would be having some of the best matches of the year on Dynamite. But he likes his methodically heelish paced style, and I think that's okay. But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't as
the right
good.
person won.
I agree. The right person won. It definitely wasn't as good as the previous matches. I think part of that, and I've spoken about this in the past before,
Orange Cassidy doesn't have any steam left.
He doesn't have any steam left, but also part of it is that whereas they kept a lot of his wrestling gimmick out of the ring, his wrestling gimmick in the ring, he is just a work rate guy, right? He's now just a wrestler,
a lower work rate guy.
And he had some of that lethargy here again, but nothing that compared to the very first match or anything that really what made Orange Cassidy signable has all been kind of stripped away from him. Now, is that a bad thing?
It's been a lot of years
since
he started this. Like, I think the gimmick's just starting to run out of juice.
I don't know. I think the gimmick can still work. I think it's just if you want the gimmick to be reinvigorated, you gotta bring back the lethargic wrestling style. I think that is what got him over to begin with. Why not just do that? I get the guy can go as a wrestler. He's got the work rate, but that's just my opinion. This match was still good, but I feel like the reason the guy got signed was doing that style.
Sure.
I guess maybe not necessarily the reason the guy got signed, but that was the match
his
that
popularity.
got him signed. And got him popular to begin with. So why not?
All right.
Why not do some of that?
Worth bringing up. Let's bring up the MJF interview from earlier this week about the meme wrestlers, and I think a lot of what MJF said was actually very agreeable for me. Now, do I agree with him with El Hijo de Vikingo? No, I don't agree with him on that. But that felt more like a jab of like, oh, you know what? He probably sees a potential match now out of that more than him just like hating the lucha style of Vikingo.
Yeah.
And he was a good person to bring up in terms of GIF wrestler because I mean, come on.
He's not wrong in that endeavor.
No, he's a great GIF wrestler. Yeah. But I think MJF said a lot of truth, and Orange Cassidy just happened to be a good wrestler too. So I think he was really the main start of that. Like he's this meme wrestler, right? That a lot of people enjoyed because of his gimmick and he was funny, but he can go actually.
Yeah.
Ever since then, none of the other guys can go.
Yeah, Danhausen is
Warhorse.
Well, I think Warhorse has gotten better. He's being trained by Davey Richards.
Better, but this doesn't mean he can go.
No, yeah, he's being trained by Davey Richards, so he certainly has gotten better and beefier.
Also, my other favorite part of the MJF stuff was when he was on Ariel Helwani's show,
mhm.
and he asked him about the bloodline. He goes, "We the ones, babe."
I was fascinated by. Can I just quickly talk about that Ariel stuff?
Yeah,
It's fascinating that
he's so good.
he's very good, but it's fascinating to me that the guy can have like the interview and catch interviews with MJF and stuff, and then like the next day go on Bill Simmons' podcast and say that AEW is cratering and like the
Yeah,
worst it's ever been, and but
yeah.
then say like, oh, but MJF is good.
I guess
He's
people
a
don't.
future
I
star.
guess people really don't remember like pandemic AEW. Like the beginning of that was just bad,
Yeah,
and it's not
which
their fault.
yeah, to be fair, I mean, a
But
lot of
like,
it at the beginning was just like,
I
I'll
just
take
feel
what I
like
can get.
I just feel like it's worth bringing up. Like, this is not the worst. Just because they've had a bad news story doesn't make it the worst.
No,
Um,
and
but yeah, the MJF interviews.
they've also certainly bounced back from all that CM Punk stuff
Yeah, yeah.
and elite
That
stuff.
if anyone hasn't heard it, I think hearing MJF's philosophy on wrestling and why he watches everything to get better is
Mhm.
actually like really important. And I think it's kind of like really how I personally watch wrestling as a fan too. Like,
Oh yeah,
it's not just as a wrestler, but like that's a fan type thing of like to see the different styles and to get better as a someone that sits here and talks about wrestling. Even like,
hmm
yes, he's getting better to be a wrestler, but he has a lot of truth just for fans, let alone for wrestlers. So
oh
like
yeah.
that interview is great by him.
That whole idea was sort of what you and I came together on, that idea of like being I said this to Jesse the other day of like it's almost like being cultured as a wrestling fan, and I don't mean to say that it's sort of like a I'm better than you MJF style, but just the idea of like, I'm not just watching WWE. We're watching American
Right.
wrestling, American indie wrestling, European wrestling, Mexican wrestling, Japanese Puro style, Joshi style, yada yada
Yeah.
yada. And I feel like that is something you and I came and clicked on, but that was also essentially what like the ethos of this show stemmed from, was this
Just
I
talking about impact.
yeah, one of the reasons we talk about it, one of the reasons I keep talking about Impact, one of the reasons I keep bringing up NWA with you. Not only is it funny
Yeah.
to get your reactions,
He hasn't won that one yet, but
no,
he's trying.
no, but part of it is reactions from Scotty, and I think it's funny. Scotty thinks it's funny, and fans of this show think it's funny. That's a little peek behind the curtain. People enjoy that segment, but it's also this idea that
Yeah, thanks, guys.
torturing Scotty is funny. But also the idea that there's I don't necessarily want to come on here like to talk about like we only talk about the things we love and it's just 2 hours of
Not
us
just
talking about
AEW and WWE.
yeah, I don't
Just
want this
like
show to
that's
be
really how to say it.
I don't want this show to be 2 hours of us discussing wrestling, the only wrestling that we love from the past week. Like
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's
you got to be
important
critical.
it's important to watch it all so that we can be able to talk about everything in a better way. I just
Yeah.
went on this would be my plug. I just went on Red Leaf Retrocast of Bowling JD, and we talked about the PWI and rewrote the PWI top 20. And I would have only been able to talk about that and be a guest on the show if I had an understanding of wrestling in America, the different levels of wrestling in America, the levels of wrestling in Japan and Europe, and if I had
Yeah.
that sort of understanding, and I was able to do a good job. And I don't think I shared with you our new top 20, but it is kind of funny. But
I just realized
you would
this
love
all
our new
came
top
from
20.
Orange Cassidy.
This all came from Orange Cassidy. Anyways,
But no, but I just want to agree on everything you had. We watch everything to be critical, to be fans. It's
mhm.
always to be fans. That's
Yeah,
why we're all here, okay?
you and I are fans of wrestling, not like one
Yeah,
specific thing, but
right,
wrestling.
right. We're not trying to be haters unless it's NWA that I have to. They just deserve it.
Yeah.
But like,
We give praise when there's
yeah,
warranted.
like if we sat here and did what every other pay-per-view podcast does
Mhm.
of just doing WWE and AEW, I wouldn't feel like there's a reason to do it.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh yeah, we enjoy talking about it. But this is different. Hopefully people see that. But yeah, let's move on. By the way, Konosuke Takeshita should be back. All right, continue.
I think I think I heard somewhere that he is coming
He is
back
coming
in
back.
October.
Yeah, he had his last match with DDT today.
Yeah, I was about to say. Did he win that match, by the way? Spoilers?
No, but it was phenomenal.
Fuck. God damn it. I saw they
I saw the match of the week.
I saw they did the Nigel McGuinness spot.
Oh, with the headbutt.
Yeah. On the headbutt on the ring post.
It was fucking nuts.
Headbutt on the ring post radio. Anyways, next match. Next match. AEW interim world women's title match. Toni Storm was able to retain the title against Athena, Britt Baker, and Serena Deeb. Before we talk about the post match, though, let's talk about this match with these 4 women. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a pretty good match.
Britt Baker's gonna learn how to not get her nose broken.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's tough. I felt bad.
Yeah, I mean, this one wasn't her fault, certainly. I think it was just an over-rotation from Athena.
Biggest takeaway from this match, this is the best Athena has looked in AEW. I thought she looked like a star in this match. I thought Deeb was really good early, too.
Yep.
I thought those two really were the main focal points of this, which was interesting, because after the match, it really wasn't about them at all. It was about the other two. But, yeah, I thought the match was pretty good. Good fatal 4-way.
I'll also say...
and they should probably... move away from the fatal 4-ways now. That's 2 of them. Well, but it's a good style, I guess.
So I was going to say that, with all the faults of AEW women's division, I do think that they do multi-man women's matches very well. Sure. I mean, they've done a lot of 4-ways for the women's title, but I don't remember any of them being bad, Like they're all been pretty good. So And maybe that's why they do them. That's why they keep doing tag matches, is to showcase more stuff like that, get more women on television, yada yada yada. It obviously worked ratings wise. This segment, this match, outperformed previous women's division weeks. So this was obviously worked. It was very good, and I thought it was a very good match. Now the post match, of course, Jamie Hayter came out and re-teamed back up with Britt Baker. They didn't do the split.
Before again. You talk about the other thing,
I
need to share my displeasure with this.
Yeah.
Stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah. I'm over
They
it.
wasted our time.
Yeah.
They had a perfect story to tell.
Yep.
With Britt Baker, I know how much that means to them to have her have a story. She had a story and they ruined it. It's over. Now I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I think this is the second time they've teased a split, and they didn't pull the trigger again.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't tell me Thunder Rosa's injury made you change plans either. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, and I am under the belief that the reason they didn't do the split is because to make the save, Saraya. Thank you.
She literally tweeted,
I know.
Saraya.
Saraya,
so her to keep that right.
Formerly known as Paige from WWE, made her debut in the company. Ran off Baker, Hayter, Deeb, Rebel. No one knows. Commentary kind of made it sound like she was going to wrestle.
She's not cleared.
Yeah, she's not formally cleared. She also, she's Paige also tweeted, believe everything you read in the dirt sheet. So no one really knows what's happening. But she is in the company. She might be wrestling for the first time in years. So we'll see. How do you feel about Paige coming to the company?
It's their biggest name they've ever added to the division.
Yeah. 100%.
It's not the level, and I can't stress this enough. It's not like adding a 4 horsewoman, but it is adding a tier or 2 below, which I still think is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously she's known as Paige, but Saraya is a name that people know. If she wrestles, it's a big deal from various reasons. But no, I think it's a great ad as long as she can wrestle, as long as she's 100% okay, which again, I don't know if that's true. But I appreciate the move. You went out and you went and got someone. You went and got someone that has name value, that has, so it'll put eyes on your women's division.
Mhm.
Now, her feuding with Britt Baker right off the bat, it's expected, but the one thing I fear is it will take precedent over the title now. Titles. Sorry.
Yeah, that's something that, if you recall from Sheeta's reign, that
Oh, I remember.
Baker, it was always still kind of the Baker show, which, again, if the event, it's the always the conversation for Baker is, there's go away heat with her with some people, but there's also like, well, she's also the top draw, so obviously, one, people still like seeing her, and two, it's hard to not book her when she's the top draw in the women's division. I don't blame Tony Khan for doing all that, but hopefully the idea is maybe you built something out of Tony Storm, you bring in Paige, she has potential to be the biggest draw in the company now. You have right now two titles in the Paige Britt Baker stuff, three women's storylines happening on television. You can't say that the work hasn't been put in to the AEW Women's Division. People obviously were interested in this match, the four-way match, and watched it. And it did very well ratings wise. So there's obviously effort being put in. This was a great stage to showcase that and have that many viewers watching it. So hopefully there's more hope on the horizon. I've seen people write off the debut of Paige completely, saying, "Oh, it's just another Soho. It's just another Athena. It's just another." People they wrote it off like people were saying that Soho and Athena would change the division when they came in, and then they just came back to where it was. How do I know Paige is going to be any different? One, Paige is not on the level of those other women. She is higher than them. Yes, I agree. She's not a current four horsewoman, but she is certainly maybe 5 or 6.
She probably won't.
She's probably 5 or
She's
6
not
on the
going
list.
to change the division completely.
Not necessarily.
I think one of them would. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But at least she's a name.
Yeah, but we've also talked about it, is that, Soho, her coming in wasn't like a division changer. We realized very quickly on, it's like, oh no, Soho is just someone that is, if she's in with a good wrestler, she'll have a good match. If she's with someone that doesn't really that good at wrestling, she won't have a good match. So it's like, oh, she's not gonna be your game changing kind of type wrestler. Athena, I think she's gotten a lot better. Tony Storm.
I think Athena's a great wrestler.
Yeah, I think Tony Storm has been phenomenal. She had a little bit of gunk at the very beginning, but once she got past that,
Paige is in the Tony Storm range, I think.
And I think that's fair. I think we'll definitely see moving forward if she's in that range where she's settled in the ratings wise. But I think I think Paige is someone that is a way different level than a Soho, than an Athena. And I think writing off this as a debut as I'm not going to care about this is ultimately also writing off the women's division. And from some of the people that made those comments that seemingly care about the women's division, I don't know how you don't see this as a win. So that's very frustrating. But, ultimately, I think this is an insanely good move on AEW's part.
It'll depend if she can wrestle.
That's also true. That is also true.
If she ends up not being able to wrestle, it's a idiotic move.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Main event was for Dynamite AEW World Title Grand Slam Tournament of Champions final match for the vacant AEW World Title, and it was in fact Jon Moxley who ended up defeating Bryan Danielson here. You and I both wanted Danielson to get the win. He didn't get the win, but surely he did put out a really good match between him and Moxley. So Moxley is your new AEW World Champion for the third time. Scotty, thoughts?
Thought he was the best part of this match. Danielson. I thought the early going was really, really great.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of lost something. Kind of lost the crowd a little bit.
Yeah.
Then they started to heat it back up. And then it ended. And I was like, oh, all right. It was still a good match, don't get me wrong, but it definitely left me a little underwhelmed for what I expect out of these two, especially based on what these two have been doing
Hmm.
in their work, right, against other people. So you kind of hoped for better, but they're so good that I think it hurts them too. Like if someone else put on this main event, you're probably left like, oh yeah, that was great. But because it's these two, you're left underwhelmed. Going with Moxley, it makes sense. I mean, they've pretty much told us this was the way since the MJF stuff. So is what it is. I mean, it would have been nice to change it up, but hard to bet against Moxley.
Completely agree. I don't blame them. They've been building it. We all saw it. You and I were really hoping it would be Danielson, and that would be a lot of fun. But ultimately, Moxley makes sense. It's ultimately still the right call. I think maybe it's kind of like that Jericho Paige first match where it's like we all kind of hope that it'd be Paige, but Jericho's the right decision. I'm not going to blame him for it. Did you enjoy the MJF constant camera cutaways?
Um, if you cut it down by like a quarter of the times they did it, it would have been fine because I did like getting his reaction to things and watching because I think people have to realize like he is now the focal point of this company.
Yeah.
Now that he's back and CM Punk and the Elite are gone for the time being on the Elite especially. So he's now the focal point, right? He is now the guy that they're, putting all their chips in on and betting on him to lead them into the future. So I get why they did it. Could have stopped a little bit because I thought the shots where you could see them wrestling and him in the background were better.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you
I
could
agree.
just see like his body language, but it's fine. I didn't get as mad about it as other people did. We didn't really miss anything. It just got a little annoying.
Yeah. I was ultimately it. It was annoying. I think doing a little bit if they did cut it down a little bit would made the match a little bit better. But and I like you said, I like the idea of having him just sitting there in the background. I think that's a more interesting idea. But otherwise, whatever. Who cares? The match itself really good. Moxley's new champion. MJF is gonna challenge somewhere down the line. We don't know where. We don't know
Full gear.
when. Still don't
Full
know
gear.
how he will challenge. How
Full
it's a,
gear.
I agree. I think it's gonna be a full gear. I think that's the idea. It's also in New Jersey as well, so that's going to be interesting. The guy's getting cheered all over the place, so it's gonna be
Yeah, he is the anti-hero now. He is what
a little bit,
Moxley
right?
was when Moxley came
Yeah,
in
right.
a
A
lot
little
of
bit of
ways.
that
Because
anti-hero.
Moxley wasn't a full baby face when he came in,
Hmm.
and he was supposed to be booed, but he was cheered. Um, it's funny, they don't have like Moxley's their top baby face now,
Hmm.
but they don't have someone, and people are gonna hate that I say this, but they don't have someone at the level that like Cody Rhodes was a baby face at the beginning
Oh yeah, sure.
when AEW started on TV. I think that's interesting because like there's a lot of they have a lot of work to do in certain areas because Hangman Page isn't even that, even though he should be that.
Yeah,
Um, but hey, we're getting Hangman Page versus John Moxley. Sign me the hell up. First time ever.
I think John Moxley is probably the closest to
Yeah,
that level of cheering babyface,
for
but
sure.
yeah, I don't necessarily know if there's someone. I mean, that Ace Pro promo was like really phenomenal and really was like, oh yeah, this is it. But yeah, I don't know. I see what you're saying, but I guess we'll see how it plays out. Let's talk about Rampage now. Obviously, Rampage had a billion matches as well. No DQ match to
They had
start off the show.
more.
They had more. They had what, 7 or 8? Jesus Christ. They had a no DQ tag team match. Darby Allin and Sting defeated Brody King and Buddy Matthews. They got to the point where Darby Allin was out. Sting was handcuffed to a chair. Buddy Matthews was ready to murder a man, Pulp Fiction style. And then out of nowhere, the great Muda shows up. Magic lamp summoned the
I feel like
great
it was a
Muda.
goddamn win for me.
It was a ginormous win.
The moment I saw the spoilers got on the Twitter feed, I was like, I win! Who do you think you are? I am! Woo! This was actually my favorite match of Grand Slam.
Yeah, of course it
Not
was.
even slightly kidding. Not because of the Muda stuff. I thought the action was great. I thought this was a great plunder match. Sting's out of his mind. Darby Allin's actually out of his mind. But
Sting, both are.
I thought it was great. I thought the House of Black looked great.
Yeah.
But, I mean.
The Julia bump.
Oh, Jesus.
Pray for her. Jesus Christ.
I thought she was gone. Thought we lost her. She lost her hat. Hat was great. So, that's tough. But we got Muda.
Yeah, Muda.
We got Muda and Sting in a ring together.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me?
And not for the last time. And not for the last time.
They're gonna team together for the Great Muda's final match. Bye. Woo!
Bye.
Oh my god! I almost entered my LA Knight phase there. Yeah. Yeah, this was my favorite match of Grand Slam. I'm not even slightly kidding. I thought it was fantastic. I thought the Muda pop was great when they realized who it was, because obviously, like the video when they originally showed it, you're like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. And
then they show Great Muda, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. They I'm sure
so funny, by the way.
I'm sure Muda gave you
how loved Muda is by American fans when he's in AEW, but if he didn't know it, people are like, what the fuck?
You're right. You are right.
I guess because it's not Muto.
It's not Muto, and it's not top of the card holding the title, I guess.
I picked who I know who should beat John Moxley.
Yeah, no. I'm sure Muda gave you just gave him the quarter star bump for showing the Muda appearance. But
I should have got 5.
Should have gone 5.
Should have got 5, but
But Muda wasn't formally in the match. If it was a 6-man,
no.
If Malachi was still here, we got a 6-man.
Malachi was still here, and they put great. Oh God, 7 stars.
Eat your heart out, Okada.
He would have had a lot. He would have. Malachi would have did the fire boot, try to kick Muda. Muda would have no-sold it. Would have been amazing.
Oh, they did a fire
boot. Devastated that Malachi Black locked.
Like he's dead. You can't do anything with him anymore. Yeah, this was a really good match. I really enjoyed this.
I love brawl. Sting plunder.
Yeah, Sting is at a point in his career which just like I'm excited to see him wrestle, and I know it's going to be really good. So
he is the complete opposite of the Undertaker.
Hey, that's true. That's true. I mean, how old is Sting? 63.
Sting's older than the Undertaker.
I was about to say, how old is the Undertaker?
50-something.
57. I feel like the Undertaker's also had more surgeries than Sting, so I'm certainly
Undertaker had a lot more miles on him.
Yeah, I'm sure that's part of it. That WWE house show schedule. Yeah. But anyways,
God. Muda, dude.
Muda, and like you said, formally get Muda and Sting teaming up for the Great Muda Bye in January. So
that's pro wrestling love right there.
That's
pro wrestling love.
Now we know. Next up, Action Bronson
They're gonna
and
fight
Hook.
Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Ric Flair and Tatsumi Fujinami.
Oh no, Ricky Steamboat. He's coming back.
Oh yeah, let's just get nuts.
Oh my god, it could be Fujinami. He also still wrestles, doesn't he? Oh god. Let's just bring them all back.
Don't bring back Ric Flair.
Action Bronson and Hook. Action Bronson made his wrestling debut with Hook and defeated Angelo Parker and Matt Menard. Short little match here, but I thought Action Bronson, hey look, another celebrity that looked pretty good.
Yeah, the celebrities are hidden on these matches. Huh? I mean, no one's Logan Paul, but it's hard to be. Logan Paul made Miz have a good match, and that is the biggest accomplishment you can do.
Yeah.
Right? Pat McAfee did great things. He's done great things, but he didn't give the Miz one of the best matches of his career. So again, tough. Yeah, Action Bronson looked good. I mean, he was in there for short bursts, but I had fun.
Good.
It'd be cool if they did something with Hook.
Yeah, I mean, this was something with him, I guess. Right?
Yeah. I mean, there was not a full winning weekend for the Jericho Appreciation Society.
I mean, Do you think they're saving Hook because they still see him as a little green, or do you think they're just not doing anything with him just
Probably that
because?
one.
The former?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that might be part of it. I don't blame him. I mean, it's kind of the Jade Cargill championship syndrome a little bit, right? Where it's
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm going to talk about those
yeah,
problems. Those are much deeper than Hook. Hook just doesn't. Hook's not on TV at all. That's his problem. He's just never there.
yeah. Let's move on to the next match. There was only 5 minutes, so I'm not going to spend any more time on that. Samoa Joe and Wardlow defeat Josh Woods and Tony Nese, and it was essentially a squash match here. And I will say the only real point I had on this match is give me a Samoa Joe and Wardlow tag team, Tower of Terror, Tower of Pain tag team, skyscrapers. I don't care. Just give me something. These
Give
guys.
me more War Joe. That's what you're saying.
I
You need
want
more
I want
War
Ward
Joe.
I want Ward Joe
You
full
want to
on.
be sitting there in Atlanta the next time AEW comes to, and you want to be War Joe, and then Goldberg shows up and spears them both. Anyways, because he's from Atlanta. He's from Atlanta.
Thank you.
Come
You're
on,
right. You
he's
are
from
right.
Atlanta.
You're right, sir.
I connect all these dots. I mean, yeah, it was exactly what it should have been.
Yeah.
So Samoa Joe, by the way, gonna keep saying this because he's back now.
Mm-hmm.
He looks good. He looks good. He looks solid in there. I mean, he's not having like real matches yet, so it's like, what am I supposed to take from it?
Yeah.
But I liked him and Wardlow together. Speaking of another guy that needs to get going, it feels like he's getting going again. So that's
Yeah.
cool.
Another reason why I say the tag team is that I think that would also be a good spot for both of them. Warlow can get sort of that Samoa Joe rub. Samoa Joe can hide him. He's not as good as he once was, obviously, but so you can hide him a little bit. I think it's War Joe's the goal.
Oh my god! I just thought of an amazing idea. I need Chris Jericho to make the Ring of Honor World Title or spinner belt.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That would be insane.
If he has taste and understands where he is in life, he would do it.
That would be phenomenal. Oh, that'd be insane. Anyways, Jungle Boy defeats Ray Phoenix in a surprise one-on-one match here. Match was great. And Jungle Boy earned, as commentary said, another signature win. How many signature wins is this guy getting?
I knew the moment I heard it that you were going to be pissed. I knew you were going to be like, what are you talking about? What do you mean signature win? I'll tell you what a signature win is. Nothing he has.
I'm not saying it's not a signature win. I'm just saying he's had a lot. What are we doing with him? What are we doing with the guy?
Ray Phoenix is wrestling Vikingo at AAA Triple Mania, so that's actually the most important thing about Ray Phoenix from this past week.
2 to 3 weeks from now, I think.
Yeah. But good for Jungle Boy. It was a good match. Jungle Boy is good at wrestling.
Yeah.
He's good at like the wrestling part of this, which is nice. Oh, he's Jungle Boy Jack Perry again, too. That was nice. They brought that back. They realized they were wrong there.
Yep.
They have no idea what they're doing with this poor guy. I feel bad. Like, I feel bad for Jungle Boy. Because, like, I think when we rag on him, or not even rag on him, but critique his handling, it's not his fault. Like, none of it's his fault.
And I'll tell you whose fault it is. Guys like Chris Jericho, guys, I mean, kind of Tony Khan himself.
I will never blame Chris Jericho.
I know. But guys that at the very beginning of AEW, in all of those Luchasaurus Jurassic Express tag team matches, kept saying Jungle Boy is a future star, Jungle Boy is the next breakout star, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, they put too much pressure.
Yeah, they gave him everything, all this praise, and we're seeing that, yeah, he's a great wrestler. We always kind of knew that. Yeah, he's gotten better.
He's always been good at the in-ring stuff.
But the reason the Jungle Boy character was silent is because he couldn't cut promos. And now we're trying to have him cut promos 2 years after really starting to cut promos.
Yeah.
Really a year after starting to cut promos. Like, he's not, like, The problem is that the real problem is that they said that he's a future star, I think, way too early.
Yeah.
If they said it
They
now,
said it like the moment he walked in.
yes. If they said it now, it would have worked. But they gave
Mm.
him and everyone believed him. Then they called him a pillar and all this other stuff.
Ugh.
And now it's like by time he becomes a star,
Yeah.
it's gonna be 3-5 years from now. At this rate, right? You know, it's
My favorite fact remains that the only pillar not to win a title is MJF.
that's true. That's true.
But
But
who is the
he's on his
brightest
way to get the world title.
Yeah, who has the brightest future? It's MJF. Yeah, I think the pillar stuff has really hurt everyone except for MJF. Truthfully,
Yeah.
I think it's obviously hurt Sammy Guevara. I don't even know why he was put in that conversation to begin with. I think he's almost reached a point of like no return. Hasn't done it yet, but he's getting there.
Mhm.
Where I just like watch him, and I think his stuff with Eddie on the show is actually good, like the
Yeah.
way they did it.
Yeah.
But he has been hurt by that. I think Darby, to an extent, actually hurt by it because he kind of he has the same problem in some ways as Jungle Boy. Of he's not a very good promo or anything.
Mhm.
He's better, I guess.
I
but
think
his
he's.
promos are
For me,
he
he's
has a better gimmick for promos too.
Sure, that's definitely true.
Short, one line type stuff.
He doesn't need to have great babyface Cody Rhodes style promos.
Right, exactly. Not many people should have those to begin with, but
plus he's with Sting, so it's also
yeah,
in a weird way that's great. But at the same time, for Sting to wrestle, Darby has to almost be with him, so it's
Darby always feels like second fiddle.
Yeah.
Despite all of the feuds that they do being about Darby, he still feels like second fiddle.
He does have great outings with like Brody King and one-on-one matches.
Oh, he has great matches.
Yeah.
He has probably the most great matches out of the four.
Yes.
But he does feel like every feud he's in, it's like, okay, he needs Sting to help save his ass.
Yeah.
He needs Sting to win the feud for him.
In a weird way, and I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing because it is Sting.
He's also cooled off.
That's true. I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing because it is Sting, but in a weird way, he's like, ironically, slightly handcuffed. Handcuffed? That's not the word.
Handcuffed.
Thank you. Handcuffed to Sting in a weird way. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't necessarily think it's a good thing at this point anymore.
No. That being said, I'd rather Sting be around with Darby than not around at all. So.
That's the other thing. Is that
sorry, Darby.
I agree. You're kind of stuck with Sting because I want to see Sting.
Yeah. But back to Jungle Boy. I agree. If he was called the future star now for the first time, it'd be big for him because I think you're seeing that.
Yeah.
But like he's at a point now where you look at MJF, right? And you're like, okay, so he should be there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And MJF's always been presented bigger than all of them.
Yeah.
But it's tough. Jungle Boy's been the tag team wrestler of the four.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to say you'll be a future star while you're a tag team for 2 years.
Like it's not a good spot for the guy.
Anyways. No. Hopefully he could turn it around. I mean, if he has great matches, it's one way to turn it around naturally.
I agree. Well, let's hope.
Matches speak loud.
Let's hope. So, singles match, Sammy Guevara versus Eddie Kingston. Sammy Guevara started the match saying, "Hey, I apologize." You know, Adam Page style. He apologized in the ring, and then he said, "I should have called you fat sooner." Then the two beat each other up. Well, rather, Eddie Kingston beat the crap out of Sammy Guevara pretty much the entire match. Sammy got a little bit in here, but Eddie Kingston pretty much beat him up the entire match. Hit him with 3 back fists, put him in the stretch plum. Won the match. However, Eddie Kingston refuses to let go. And so in a very 90s style, 80s style of wrestling, old school style of wrestling, head official came out, said, you're refusing to let go. The people are trying to pull him off. You're refusing to let go. You're not going to do that. We're going to reverse the decision. So Sammy Guevara wins by referee decision and formally defeats Eddie Kingston in this endeavor. Thoughts on this match?
My main thought is that I thought they did it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Someone made a good point on Twitter. I wish I remember who it was, that it continues the story of Eddie Kingston still not being able to win the big one
Mm-hmm.
because of his anger and aggression
And his emotion as a whole.
and his emotion, right? Like, it's such an easy thing to tell. And I know some people have been like, we've been going through like some weird things on Twitter. If anyone pays attention, like with FTR and FTR, with the Cornet stuff, I think that's the main reason people don't like them now, which is fair.
Yeah.
But I've seen people start not liking Eddie Kingston, and I don't get that.
Wait, what? I thought
Yeah,
you were gonna
yeah.
say. I thought you were gonna
Some
say
people.
Sammy, but Eddie? What?
No one likes Sammy. But like I see, like it's starting to creep in a little bit. Like people are sick of like who Eddie Kingston is and like how he handles his business, and I'm like, all right. Um, I think Eddie, now that he's back from the suspension, it seems like this is the match that really got him back into story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm excited to see where it goes because I thought they again executed this perfectly. Sammy gets up after the match. He's like, "Where am I? What happened?"
What happened?
'Cause he got his ass beat,
Yeah.
and then he got stretched into oblivion. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like where they're going. I just hope Eddie gets something out of this because he's still, he might be the closest thing you have to that super over baby face. Like anytime he shows up, it's still
Pop City.
positive.
Yeah, no. I thought this match was really well done, and I really liked it. And I also saw something on Reddit. I saw something on Reddit that talked about how what was really good about this match was that it's what Punk and the Elite all said that they wanted to be, but never were, and that these guys had a backstage altercation about calling him fat. All the other stuff happened, and then, uh, and then you know,
They did it on TV.
and then they figured it out backstage, lived the suspensions, admitted to it, then figured it out on TV and figured out how to make money off of it. That whole idea is phenomenal, and I thought it was very good. And it's just this
Yeah.
idea of that's how wrestling should be done and handled.
Yeah.
And yeah, no,
Big Eddie Kingston guy, personally.
yeah, I'm a big fan of Eddie Kingston. I don't agree with any of those takes if those are out there about Eddie Kingston's overrated or whatever the takes were, but he's good. He's telling a story here. Sammy is dead. He can go off and do his own thing. Eddie can now do this thing where he's feuding with backstage officials. If this leads to Eddie Kingston versus Jerry Lynn, I'm here. Anyways, AEW TBS title match: Jade Cargill defeats Diamante. Diamante, Trina turns on Diamante, and Trina celebrates with Jade Cargill. I have nothing to say about this match. What's that?
I'm done. I'm done with the Jade Cargill squash title matches. I'm done. She's boring. It's all boring. It's all so boring to me. It has been the same thing for months. It's boring. Move on. Do something. Heat someone up. I understand Chris Statlander got hurt. That ruined your plans. But guess what? Jade Cargill wasn't lighting the world on fire before that. I'm done. We can move on.
That's fair. I agree. AEW World Title #1 contendership Grand Slam Golden Ticket Battle Royal. Adam Page wins.
AEW does battle royals so bad, by the way. Like their battle royals are really bad. But him and Roosh were pretty cool at the end, right? Right?
Yeah.
Ryan's been proved wrong. Roosh has just come in and been this raging bull and been just great. And to be fair to Ryan, it's hard to trust Roosh. So
but he was bad in Ring of Honor. I'll say here in AEW, he's been knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, he's been a home run.
It's home run city over here.
I miss Andrade. He feels like he's always hurt or something.
Yeah.
Because I think those two could gain a lot of steam right now with all the stuff that went on. I feel like those two are two guys you should count on in the heel department. But yeah, it was nice to see him in Final 2 as well. Felt an important spot for him, even if he lost. And the way he lost was great. With the move that I can never think of the name of. The dropped him on his head. I don't know.
I agree with you. The last
But
call?
Hangman, big win for Hangman. Are you kidding me? Hangman Page versus Gian Moxley, Tuesday Night Dynamite,
Mm-hmm. In
whatever
October,
that is.
whatever that
Yeah,
is.
that's
Uh,
first time ever. Those two
First time
wrestled.
ever match. First time they've ever. The only other time they've ever been in the ring together was the tag team match years ago, and then the Casino Battle Royal
Yeah.
where Adam Page won. So, well, the Battle Royal ladder match, I guess. But yeah, no, it's we're officially getting a 1-on-1 match. Talk about the Tanahashi versus Naito story about these guys haven't wrestled in a while. Yeah, no, I saw also something earlier this week, by the way, that was like, I saw a tweet of someone saying that AEW has done like every match they could possibly do, and it was such like a bad faith thing that was like, oh no, I don't watch
Tony
AEW
Khan
anymore.
doesn't do like half of the matches. He refuses
Yeah,
to do.
it's like famously Tony Khan. It takes forever to do matches. In fact, here's a match 3 years into the company that has never happened versus two top guys. So it just really is like bad faith arguments out there of people being like, "Oh, he's done all the
remember
matches."
Kenny Omega's title reign?
Yeah,
He literally refused to do like any match.
Yeah, all these big matches. Like, I'll save them for later
With his world champion.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about here. But yeah, Adam Page wins, so we're going to see eventually a title match.
They just go back to matches a lot.
That's true, and I it works, I guess.
Which could be hit or miss, but it usually is a hit, so it's okay.
And the main event here for Rampage Grand Slam Week was Lights Out match, Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I thought this was a very good lights out match. Ricky Starks ends up getting the victory, and good on him. I think this is the star-making performance, I guess, for Ricky.
Those are all my thoughts.
Perfect. That's
Ricky Starks can be a great babyface.
I agree. I am excited to see where Ricky and Hobbs both go from here. So that's it for Grand Slam Week. Let's move on to our next topic. Let's just very quickly, touch on Royal Quest this Saturday, Sunday.
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't really exist. The show is happening, obviously. The show is not going to be live as you want to talk about it because you know potentially more about it than I do. About
the Royal Quest?
About how the show is going to be airing, kind of?
Well, I don't know how it's going to be airing. I just know New Japan tweeted out, go buy tickets to Royal Quest so you could see it before anyone else because it's not airing live on New Japan World. And I said, what?
Yeah.
Why is it not airing live on New Japan World? No one had the answer. No one knows when it's going to get uploaded. No one knows when we'll see it.
I vaguely remember that happening last time for Royal Quest 2.
Still doesn't make sense. However, I have come to the agreement with some. If we do avoid a Fight TV like special in terms of production, then it's worth it. If we get good production when they upload it, that's fine by me. If it's a good shot show and it feels like a New Japan show rather than a Fight TV New Japan Strong show, that's cool. I obviously like to watch it live because it's two big shows, but we don't even have cards, so I guess it's not that big.
Yeah, so the final night of the Burning Spirit Tour happened this morning. They teased some matches, of course, but nothing has been.
Naito and Zack Sabre Jr. will be happening.
Yeah, they haven't formally announced anything more. Presumably, the cards will probably. I'm guessing by the time you're hearing this, it'll probably come out either this afternoon or tomorrow, Monday. Scotty left for some reason. So I presume that's going to be the case. We do have 2 matches formally announced. We do kind of have hints about matches that are going to be happening. So I'm going to talk about those real quick. Some of the matches that we have announced real quickly, I'm just going to go through them and then we'll talk about them all at the same time. It's going to be FTR versus Aussie Open. That should be fantastic. Ava White versus Alpha Female, the former Jazzy Gabbert. Going to be the first round match in the IWGP Women's Title Tournament. And the winner of that obviously faced Kyrie, we talked about earlier. And then they teased on the Burning Spirit Tour that it probably is going to be Zack Sabre Jr. versus Tetsuya Naito on night 1 of Royal Quest 2. That's confusing. With then the winner going up against Will Ospreay for the IWGP US title on Royal Quest 2 night 2. So that's
nothing says United Kingdom Royal Quest like the IWGP United States Championship being defended in the main event.
The other stuff that were teased was Jay White versus Tama Tonga, but that's going to be at a future show. They also teased Carl Anderson versus Hikuleo for the Never Openweight title. So that is also down the line. So thoughts on what has been announced, thoughts on what is potentially going to happen at Royal Quest 2, Scotty?
The 3 matches of Aussie Open FTR, Naito, Zack Sabre Jr., and I'm guessing Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Probably.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty good?
Pretty good. Gonna be a little annoyed I have to wait for it, but it's fine.
We don't, like you said, we don't know when it's going to come out. Thoughts on
It
Ava White?
screams Ospreay versus Zack Sabre.
What about Ava White versus the leader of the No Stardom faction or whatever it's called, Alpha Female?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right, there we go.
I don't want to talk.
I will say it's pretty obvious who's going to win that one, though. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah. It's jazzy.
Yeah. So, anyways,
never heard of Ava White again after that one announcement.
I've never heard of her before. Never will hear of her again. Stardom. Let's talk about Stardom. 5-star Grand Prix.
1 second. I got to take care of my dog.
All right. Well, I'll brave ahead and talk about the beginnings of what we're going to talk about. The last couple of minutes we have for the show. Stardom 5-star Grand Prix final is taking place this Saturday. The Stardom and Showcase Volume 2 show happened this morning with a couple of the block matches, a couple last second block matches happening there. But it is officially the 5-star Grand Prix finals is going to be happening this Saturday. We have updated standings via Scott. It says Scott Edwards from Fightful. I don't know who that is. I know Scotty. I don't know Scott
He's
Edwards.
a
bitch. But we officially have formal blocks heading into the final. So Scotty, do you want to talk about them, or I guess I'll give the Red Star blocks, give potential winners maybe. We can sort of talk about it. So Red Star's block all tied at 14 points. We have Maika, Azumi, Shuri, Tam Nakano, Himeka, Utami Hayashishida, with Risa Sera with 13 points, Kagama at 12 points on the outside. And those are everyone that could probably win this whole thing, this whole block. So thoughts on the Red Stars block?
I'll just say this as the basis of the entire final night and the way they've set it up. They kind of perfected it in a lot of ways. Like, you can't set up for a final night in a tournament better than they did here. Right? You have so many people in contention. You have your biggest match on the show having the most stakes. Now just feeling like, as it should, in the Blue Stars block, but we'll talk about the Red Stars block here. I still think it's Tam Nakano's to take. She did drop 2. I believe everyone is at so everyone's at 7 and 4. That's at 14, which is kind of crazy. But they've created so much buzz and excitement around that. Like, obviously people are gonna get eliminated if certain people win. Like, if Maika wins, I think she eliminates like Azumi, Utami, and Shuri. If Utami wins, like, Tam's eliminated. If Shuri wins, Tam's like. There's a lot of different directions.
If Azumi wins, Tam's eliminated. Because according to this,
true?
Azumi defeated Tam.
That's
as well.
Right. Interesting. She's facing Saki Kashima, so she can lose.
That could easily be like a 2-minute roll up Saki Kashima pin.
So they've created a perfect scenario where every match will matter on the Red Stars block side. It's better if I just give people the final night matches.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So Azumi versus Saki Kashima, there are stakes there.
Mhm.
Unagi
If
Sayaka,
Azumi wins, she basically wins the block.
Azumi wins, yeah, because she beat all the top people except for like Shuri
She lost to.
and Maiko
Oh wait,
and
no.
Maiko.
Yeah.
All right, so there's that. So I'm guessing she'll lose, of
Mhm.
course. You have Unagi Sayaka and Momo Kogo, which doesn't matter.
Nope.
So
It's battle from. Well, it's a. Oh my
put
god!
in.
It's a battle for last place.
Well, currently Unagi is sitting in last place. She has less points than Momo Kogo, so that's tough.
What the fuck?
Um,
Remember I joked. Remember I texted you and I jokingly said, "Here's to Momo suddenly beating Unagi." I just thought
it
Momo
got
was going to come
worse.
in both tied at 2-2. Now it's
It got
Unagi.
worse.
Oh,
Yeah.
what the hell is happening for Unagi?
But these are the 4 matches you really want to highlight here. Assuming Saki Kashima wins, which I'm guessing she does.
Mhm.
She's beaten all the top. I think she's beaten everyone with 14 points.
Saki Kashima.
Yeah, she's beaten Shuri, Utami.
She has not beaten Himeka.
She did not beat Himeka. Okay, so there's different ways to go there.
Mhm.
So Tam Nakano versus Saki.
Yep.
I think that's definitely a Tam Nakano win. And then the rest of the way, you have Micah versus Himeka for the first time ever.
Whew.
So big deal either way. I still feel like that might be the draw of the night, but we'll see. There could be multiple.
And that's
Yeah,
also a huge match because, like you said, Micah, if she wins, she eliminates the entire block. But Jamaica also at 14 points. If she
it's pretty
wins,
much like
she
if
jumps up
Micah
to
wins, she's
16.
in.
Yeah, so it
Um,
really comes
I'm
down to a lot of
thinking,
things.
yeah, it's gonna be crazy. You have Tommy versus Koguma, which Koguma has won with roll ups a lot this whole time.
Hmm.
Would it be shocking if she did it again?
Hmm.
You got Shuri versus Risa Sarah, rematch from their world title match.
Which, if Risa
That
Sarah wins, she gets 15 points, and now everyone else
is in
says
the
someone's gonna
conversation
win.
again.
Yeah,
Right. So
I guess actually, no matter what, Risa Sarah's out, right? Because no matter what, Micah or Jamaica, unless they
did she
draw.
who did she yeah, if they draw, it's a different conversation.
If it's a draw, it's a different conversation. But if they win, then Risa Sarah's done. So the only way for Risa Sarah to stay in is to win, and for Micah and Jamaica to draw. And then I don't know if she has even wins against them. Let's see.
I'm checking right now. She actually lost to Jamaica, so she's screwed.
And she beat Micah.
Yeah, so she's out.
Yeah.
She's out. She will be playing spoiler on the final night. That's the fun of the math here, but
Yeah.
she does have enough points where it'll be interesting. I think she beats Shuri, or at the very least draws. So that's that block. There's a lot of options.
It's a domino effect. The Red Stars.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm guessing we might be in watch mode for Tam the whole night.
Mm-hmm.
She'll probably win early on, and then we'll be like, all right, let's watch and see what happens here. I've picked Tam at the beginning. My backup was Micah, so I'm feeling pretty good about my predictions.
Yeah.
Feeling pretty good about my predictions. And I'm happy with either one.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
And then on the Blue Stars block side, it's a little more clear, but also it's also very direct.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, believe it or not, Julia goes into the final night with the most points.
Correct.
They're not like it's nice to see that. Like I don't need the person to be tied or behind all the time.
Yeah. She's going in with 15 points, we should say.
Yeah, she's going in with 15. And then I believe one second.
I have with 14 points Hazuki, Starlight Kid, and Suzu Suzuki, which Julia will be facing Suzu Suzuki in the final night.
Right. So that's pretty much your decider.
Yeah.
That is what will decide the tournament. It's not if Hazuki wins, which she can, obviously, she has to beat Momo, which hasn't been easy.
It's possible.
But it's very possible because I thought for the longest time she was gonna have to lose that match to qualify or not. But it's not that case anymore. Julia and Hazuki can win, which is not something I expected to come into this. So Starlight Kid's actually out.
Yeah.
Starlight Kid is eliminated after losing to Suzu Suzuki at Stardom and Showcase because she lost to both Julia and Suzu. and there's no scenario where those two
and Hazuki as well. If you want to
and
throw her in
Hazuki,
there.
yes. So she lost to all of them. She, however, can take out Mayu still. Mayu's actually like the underdog here, but she still, I believe, is in it statistically because her and Julia went to a draw and she beat Hazuki.
Yes, Mayu is at 13 points, sitting there with Saya
Julia,
Kamatani and
Mayu,
Mirai.
sorry, let me rephrase. Mayu Utani beat all the top or drew the top three, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And she fights Starlight Kid on the final night. So she's still in it. Everyone else is out.
Yeah, if she gets it, she gets 15 points. She would tie with Julia, assuming Julia loses. But if Julia loses, Suzu would have 16, actually. So Suzu would have Suzu
Oh,
would
then
win.
Mayu's out. Mayu's out. Never mind.
There we go.
Mayu's out. Yeah,
I was like, sorry, it's doing the math. I'm also like doing the math.
Math
right
breaks my brain. Sorry, guys. So Mayu's actually out.
So really, it comes down to
it's Suzu versus Julia or Hazuki winning.
It would be for Hazuki to win. Hazuki would obviously need to win her match.
And needs Julia
to lose, I believe.
Draw or lose.
Because
she did beat Julia.
She beat Julia. She beat Suzuki. All it comes down to if Suzuki wins, she gets 16. Hazuki would also have 16. Hazuki would have the thing over her, so Hazuki would win. Julia just cannot win. She can draw, but she really just cannot win, and that's the only way for Hazuki to win.
If she draws and Hazuki wins, Suzuki's in the final.
Yeah.
If Suzuki wins, she's in the final. Yeah. Well, no, not if Hazuki wins.
Not if Hazuki wins, yeah.
So that's a fun little game to play. We'll have to see.
Do we have the order? Do we have the order of the matches yet?
No, but I will read it off in the order that the website shows, and they pretty much went in this order last year.
Okay.
They might shake it up a little bit, but usually Blue Star's block goes second.
Okay.
So they will go right before the final.
Mm-hmm.
So Mirai versus Saida doesn't matter, but Mirai will get to 15 points probably, which is a big deal. Her first tournament, she's gonna finish tied for second probably or third in points.
Yeah,
that's still big. Natsupoi versus Mina Shirakawa, Hazuki versus Momo Watanabe. That's big match, big one to watch.
I would expect. I think Momo could win, but I could also see a reality where Hazuki wins that match, and then it really comes down to Julia has to win, or she
has to beat Suzu, which is again still big stakes there. Stakes that match I think really does benefit from.
Mm-hmm.
You have Saya Kamatani versus Ami Sarai, Mayu Utani versus Starlight Kid, and Julia versus Suzuki.
Yeah.
Julia versus Suzuki will probably close out the Blue Stars block, if I had to guess, and then they will go into the final. Unless Julia's going to the final, which I expect her to, they might want to give her a breather. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I think if I was Rossi, if I was wearing the hat, I could see Hazuki early in the match, early in the night winning, and then it really just comes down. Julia has to win in the main event, quote unquote, of the Blue Stars block against Suzuki rival. This rival of this year. A lot of big stakes. That's a big time match. I could totally see that. Also delivering as a match itself. So I think that's the way it's probably going to go. And I could see Julia winning, right? I mean, it's Julia. Suzu is not formally signed with the company, so Julia seems like the right pick for this Blue Stars block.
Yeah.
And then what's that Ace Red Star side?
Yeah, I mean, it should be Julia versus Tam. It's always supposed to be Julia versus Tam.
Yeah.
It's the story that makes most sense. The last time Julia had a major win was before she lost the title to Tam Nakano. So, and that's when her downward spiral began. It just writes itself, people. It writes itself. I still think I wouldn't be shocked, by the way, if Hazuki loses. She doesn't beat Momo much. So
true.
I could see them do that and just put it all on that last match. Like, just, Suzu, Julia, winner goes.
Yeah.
Which, again, big spot for Suzuki, obviously. But like the funny thing is, Suzuki can qualify for this show for the finals and finish in like 4th place.
Yeah. So then it comes down to, we're guessing probably Tam Nakano versus Julia, unless it's maybe like Micah or something else. But assuming it's Tam versus Julia, who do you think's winning the whole thing? You still
It's
picking
gotta be
Julia?
Julia.
Yeah,
It has to be Julia. This whole term has screamed. It has to be Julia.
because then that would mean we would eventually get Julia versus Shuri in December.
Stardom Dream Queendom. Yeah, we're on our way. We are on our way. We're finally here. We're not talking about the Neo Stardom Army, so we can end the show.
Yeah, no. I think that's a good title match too. Julia versus Shuri. Obviously, there's history there. I know that's kind of weird.
Julia.
And I guess that's the question. Do you crown Julia at that point? Is the end of Shuri's reign at Dream Queendom 1 year after it started? I think, if I recall.
Yeah. It's time.
Mm,
Yeah, I think it's been time, but it's definitely time now. I think she has been ready for this spot for a long while, and I think we've reached the point where now it's like the rest of Stardom can continue on once she wins.
It's weirdly have like that I hope not really that Momo energy from a couple years ago, right? That I heard about, where it's sort of like, okay, shit, or get off the pot now, Julia. We got to do something with her.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone feels that way, because people feel like that with Julia because they think she's had enough opportunities. But
I think
it's time.
Yeah, I think she's one of the best wrestlers in that company. Personally, I love her so much. Every match I've seen, she's fantastic. But yeah, that should be exciting. That's again this Saturday on Stardom. That should be very, very good. A lot of stakes. I think we did a good job of laying out the stakes for
medium rare.
Medium rare. We laid out medium rare stakes for Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix final. That is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. We want to thank every single person that has been listening, every single viewer that's been watching on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter Live. I don't care where you're watching from. We just appreciate you. You can follow the show at Cannot Pod. That's where we get all of our other shows. Your Dose of Death, Independent Waters. Okada Shorts finally has a new episode coming out today as well. So go check it. If you want to listen to New Japan talk, Okada Shorts is the place to be. The podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Ryan Edsey. Follow Scotty at Scott E Wrestling, the letter E. Scotty, anything to plug or anything? What was your match of the week?
My match of the week. Between, I said it was Konosuke and Higuchi.
Yeah.
But
you teased that. He teased that idea.
Shuri versus Tam was really good. And Kento Miyahara versus Naoya Nomura was also great. My bad. I lost my voice. But I'll do Higuchi and Takeshita. Absolutely fantastic stuff. I think it really shines a light on how I think the US tour made Takeshita a better overall wrestler, believe it or not. He's fantastic. Higuchi's fantastic. And he's coming back.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Everyone missed him.
Yeah, I think he's fantastic. I'm glad he's coming back. What will he do when he comes back? I think that's the ultimate question. Will he get that big win finally? Remains to be seen, but we'll find out for sure. I will go off the page here, off the year here. Bringing it all back.
Sorry.
To 1988.
Jesus Christ.
I was listening to Voice of Wrestling did a deep dive on the Midnight Express versus Midnight Express feud, infamous feud, and it caused me to watch a lot of old wrestling. I didn't watch all of this show, but what I saw of this show, this match I really enjoyed. It was from Starrcade 1988, True Grit, the NWA US Tag Team match, the Fantastics, Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers versus Kevin Sullivan, the Game Master, the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, and Dr. Death Steve Williams in the NWA US Tag Team title match. I thought the match was really, really, really good. Go all the way back to 1988. It's on Peacock. You can usually check it out. I thought that match was very, very good. And obviously,
it's on Peacock.
That Starrcade has a lot of other matches that are very good as well. But that one I watched, and I was like, oh man, this match looks pretty good. I like the Fantastics from during doing this deep dive. I watched that, and I was like, holy crap, this match is great. So go check out that match from 1988. That is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. Oh, I also do want to plug, like I said, I was a guest on Red Leaf Retrocast, the show episode. We talked about the PWI 500, talked about the top 20, and redid our own top 20. The show is out on Bowling JD's Patreon, but I know it's coming on the feed, I think, this week. So you'll be able to hear me on there, I believe, at some point this week. I'll tweet out a link as well. And after the show, Scotty, I'll tell you what our PWI top 20 redux is. There's one.
I'm currently promoting, so let me mute myself. I just realized my keyboard's wicked loud.
Wicked loud. There's that Boston in you. I'll talk to you about it because I know for a fact there will be something in here you're either ecstatic about or angry about. So I cannot wait to tell you about it. So thank you, everybody. Go check that out. Go subscribe to this show. We'll see you all next week. We have a bunch of possible topics for next week, but we're already out of time, so I'm not going to talk about them. Anyway.